Hello there guys, my name is Peter, and so this is one of a series of tutorials that I'll be making. And so in this first tutorial I'll be discussing on how to create a Spring Boot application. And Spring Boot is actually a Java web framework which actually simplifies creation of websites. And before we do anything, let's first of all see what Spring Boot is. So type in Spring Boot and click on this Spring IO project Spring Boot link. And here they are saying that Spring Boot makes it easy to create standalone production grade Spring based applications that you can just run not just walk, just run. So we take an opinionated view of the Spring platform and third-party libraries, so you can get started with minimum fuss. So by minimum fuss is that it's quite easy and it reduces the amount of code that you'll be typing. So most Spring Boot applications need very little Spring configuration, and that is true. So you will see it when we start working on the Spring Boot application that we will be creating. So the latest version of Spring Boot is 2.2.2, but I'll stick with 2.1.4 for reasons we will see later. So to get us started, let's go back and click on this getting started, building an application with Spring Boot. So click on it, and so here the requirements that you need, if you look carefully here, they are saying about 15 minutes, which I think is quite a joke, because the first time I did Spring Boot, it took me a lifetime. Can't even remember how long it took me. I think a century or so, but it took me some time. So but anyway, once you get your head around it, 15 minutes will be a lot. You'll be even breaking records, let's say 5 minutes, something of the sort. So so the other thing that you'll need is an IDE. So I'll be using Eclipse, because I'm a really good loyal friend of Eclipse. So I don't want to be cheating with another IDE when Eclipse is around. It will be terrible. So the other thing that we need is JDK 1.8. I'll also be using Maven 3.2. I'm not quite sure about Grundle, but I think it's up to task as much as Maven is. So you can also use, there are a couple of IDEs out there, like for example Spring Tool Suite and IntelliJ IDEA. I've never used them, but if you are good at them, then you can actually follow along pretty well with this tutorial. Now, since I'm going to be using Maven, down here it shows you how to build a Spring Boot project using Maven. So expand on it, and here we have a very nice POM XML which we'll be using to configure our project. So to do that, let's go back to our Eclipse and create a new project, Spring Boot project. So click on File, go to New, then Maven project, and just create a simple project and click on Next. So for the group ID, if you have a website, you can actually type it there, but if you don't have anything you can think of, you can actually come up with a fancy name. I don't know, so I'm just going to type in com.cool website. Then for the artifact ID, I can say just cool website. And for the packaging, I can actually just say, you can use jar. I've never used POM, but because it is me, I'm just going to use a WO. So name and description can be optional. If you want to, you can fill them. So for the parent project is very important. If you skip this part, then problems will be following you around as you go. But you do not want that. So just go back to the POM XML, and here you can see we have this parent tag, and it has a group ID. So let's copy this group ID and paste it here in the group ID. So we also need to get the artifact ID. So the artifact ID is springboot starter parent. Copy it and paste it there. So the version that we'll be using, we have seen that the latest version is 2.2.2, but I'll stick with 2.14. So we'll just type it in. So I'll just say 2.1.4 release. So once I have that, just click finish and wait for it to create for me a Spring Boot project. I think it has already created it for me. So once you are past this creation of Spring Boot project, then you know you are on the right path. So once you've reached this, I think you need to congratulate yourself. I don't know, buy yourself a soda or something of the sort, or a chocolate. So yeah, it actually is a pain in the neck just working with Spring Boot for the first time, but once you get used to it, then it's quite easy. So the first thing that I need is go to this properties, then create a property, and the property that I need is the name is java.version. So the Java version that I'll be using will be 1.8, and just click OK. Then go ahead and save it. So once you have done that, you need to go here below where we have this dependency tab. Click on it. Then we need to add some dependencies. These are just that get downloaded into our machine. So I just click add, and the first dependencies that I need is the Spring Boot starter web. So go ahead and copy it and paste it here. So the Spring starter web that we need is from org.springframeworkboot. Expand on it and select the managed version, and click save. So the next dependency that we need is the Tomcat embed Jasper. So just type in Tomcat/embed/Jasper. So I'm going to pause it for a while as it searches for Tomcat. So it has actually found it. So let's expand on this org Apache Tomcat embed and select the managed version, that is 9.0.17, and go ahead and save it. So I think we are done with our POM XML. So the other thing that we need is a plugin. So right click on your cool website Spring Boot project, and then we have this Maven option somewhere here. and click on the add plugin. So here the plugin that we need is just navigate a little bit down. So the plugin that I need is the Spring Boot Maven plugin. So copy it and paste it here and let it search. So as it is searching, it has already found it actually. So the one that we need is from the org.springframework.boot. Expand on it and just select the latest release. Go back to your POM XML and seem to have an error. So we actually do not need this version. Just go ahead and save it. So I think those are the things that we need to configure to get our Spring Boot up and running. So the next thing that we need to do is create a class, and so the class will be in our source main Java. So go ahead and create a package. So the package, I'll call it com.cool website, then finish. So inside our com.cool website, I'll create a class, and this class I will call just main. It will have a public void main method, and also need to generate some comments, and just finish. So once we are here, the first thing that I need is to annotate my class with Spring Boot application annotation, which really helps us to work with Spring Boot seamlessly. So just type in Spring Boot application, save. Then inside our main method, type in Spring application dot run. Here we just need to pass in main dot class. Save that. So we need to extend our main class to Spring Boot Servlet Initializer. So it extends and the other thing that we need to do is override our Spring application builder method. So I'll just say protected just get this method stub. So the method that I need to override is Spring Application Builder, which returns a Spring Application Builder. I'll just call it configurer. It accepts Spring. Application Builder, and it returns Spring Application Builder dot source. So I need to pass in my main class. And that's that for our main class. I know it was I actually do not know why we are doing all of this stuff, but it has to be done. So this configuration can be a pain in the neck, so just bear with me for the time being, but we'll be getting into the interesting part. We need to annotate this method with override annotation. So once we have that, we can actually get out of main Java and create another package, which I will call, I don't know, com dot cool website dot controller. You can actually come up with a fancy name, but I'm going to stick with this. Then click finish. So we need to create a class here. Inside our package, and I'll call my class controller class. And generate comments, finish. So I need to annotate this class with controller annotation, which actually indicates that an annotated class is a controller, e.g. a web controller. This annotation serves as a specialized component annotation, allowing for implementation classes to be auto-detected through class path scanning. And yeah, so just annotate it with that controller. I just don't worry much about it. So before I go ahead, we need to actually, now we are getting into the interesting part. Expand on your source folder, go inside main, then here where we have the web app, go ahead and create a new folder, which I'll call webinf. And click finish. So inside the webinf, create another folder, and this folder will be storing our JSPs. I'll actually be using JSP. I could have actually tried to use Timeleaf, but I have never tried to use it. So I'm going to stick with the old technology. It's actually a very wonderful technology. It never gets old anyway. So the name will be JSPs for the folder, And so here this is where my JSPs will reside. So just go ahead and create a JSP file, and this I'll call it home, and click next and then finish. So once we have it, we can actually display something. So it will actually say so this is a riddle. Out of the eater, something to eat. Out of the strong, something sweet. Go ahead and crack that riddle if you are up to the task, and comment the answer on the descriptions on the comment section below. So yeah, it's a challenge for you. Back to our project. So once we have that, the next thing that we need is a application properties file, which will be housed in source main resources. So right click on it and create a file, which I'll call application properties. Did you get the spelling right? If you get the spelling wrong, you'll have problems following you around, and you'll be cursing yourself why you are doing Spring Boot. So it is application dot properties and finish. So the stuff that we need for our application properties file, to save time, I'm just going to copy this and paste it here in the application properties. So basically what it is trying to say is it is pointing to the folders where our JSPs are housed. So as you can see, we created a folder called webinf, and the JS and it has a subdirectory called JSPs, and so inside our JSPs we have home.jsp, and that's how it actually finds it. Enough of that. So once we have that, we can actually go back to our controller class and create a method which I'll call public home, and it returns a string. String is home. Since we created a home.jsp, we need to return home. So we also need to annotate our method with something called request mapping. It's an annotation for mapping web requests onto methods in requesting handling classes with flexible method signatures. So let's go ahead and get that. So the mapping, I could actually say home like this, but I want it to be the root page, so I'm just going to specify a backslash and save it. So I think that's all that we need. So you can go ahead and test our cool website application and see whether it works. So go ahead and run it as Java application. I hope it works, because if it doesn't work, I'm just going to pluck my hair out of my head. Let's look at the console. It's taking its sweet time, so let us be patient as it is trying to figure out what needs to be done. Just crossing my fingers it works. My day of reckoning. So it says that Tomcat started on port 8080. So let's go ahead and test it and see whether it's going to produce anything tangible on some horrible error. So let's go ahead and type in local host 8080. Oh, I'm going to cry. Please. After all that configurations. Almost done. If it doesn't work, I'm going to kill myself or hang myself upside down. But it's going to work anyway. It's going to work. And there we go. So guys, this is what I needed to show you in this tutorial. So catch me in the next tutorial where we'll be looking more deeply about Spring Boot and actually do something tangible with it by probably you can create a web application, just a small web application, and see how it works. So thanks for watching, and catch me in the next tutorial. Thank you.